Trustees at 6:17 p.m. Thank you for hitting record. I forgot to mention that. First item of business is roll call. Aaron Harrigan.
Here.
John Faso. May Bayer. Stephanie Bersari.
Here.
Peter Wilner. Not here. Our next item of business, we'll now open up to public comments. We know we do have some public comments in the room. I'll just ask that we keep it to under 2 minutes. And if you might just introduce yourself and where and your address as well, just for the record. So, pardon?
From here, going to get closer. Do you want me to step out and let them come to the table?
If you get that more than that, we can fix it. Thank you.
More emotion.
Or you can more than we have seafood. I don't smell much.
I just knew that was a good spot.
Can I steal this from you?
Oh, there's no sure. Yeah, but you're on the same topic. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for having comments so early in the meeting. This is amazing. I'm Anya Mizak. I live in Fairfield, the 289 Brookline Terrace, mother of 2 girls, 9 and 6. And I'm here to comment on the policy for service to minors and the age at which kids are allowed to be in the library unsupervised. So just got to reference some notes to make sure I remember. So I'm currently leading a group at Umpqua called Independence and Digital Wellness. And it's very heavily inspired by Jonathan Haidt, who wrote Anxious Generation, a book talk that was posted here just a few months ago. And as some of you may know, he very much advocates for increased independence in children from a younger age, as well as reduction in screen time. And so I'm fighting for both things. And so in order to reduce screen time for my kids and others, they need to have other things, places to be and things to do. And I think the library is a wonderful example of that, and the only indoor public space that I know of in town. And so I want to advocate to allow younger kids to be here and supervise so they can practice independence skills that I think are so critical for their development. I mean, Jonathan Haidt has been ringing alarm bells about the generation of anxiety and mental health issues in our kids. And although it might feel like a small thing to open up the library, a small thing for the kids to open up the library to allow them to be here, I think it would be huge, and it will help Fairfield be the family-friendly town that it is by having that third space, by having that ability to welcome your kids at the library. And just one last note, I do want to acknowledge, I had a conversation with Scott earlier about the challenges of implementing this. I know it's not easy. I know it's a big ask from the librarians. So I just ask you to kind of consider the trade-offs, the work that's going to be required for the staff, I admit, but also the benefit to the kids and being allowed to kind of develop that relationship with the library, with their books, and with their friends, and being able to be here on their own. So thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
I'm Anna Apunto, also a Fairfield resident, 635 Springer Road. Kids are 14 and 11 and almost 10, a couple weeks away from 10. So it does feel particularly relevant to us. I'm also on the same committee at the same school as Anya, and we've really been trying to sort of tackle this, massive and pervasive problem, certainly in our school, and from my exposure everywhere. About how do we get our kids away from screens? Everywhere you go, it's like moths to a flame. You see them hovering around whoever has the phone at the party. If there's just one kid, that's where everybody is. And so how do you give them alternatives to that, And a lot of kids are getting a smartphone as young as 10. So how do we combat that? What do we give them to sort of fill that void? And a library is just such a lovely, amazing place for them to feel safe. And it's a naturally quiet environment, It's not, when you think about the sort of kid designed spaces, parks are great for, good weather, if you have one close by. But other than that, there's sort of these loud, raucous places and typically expensive also. And just what a great beautiful alternative to sort of give them this like quiet communal space. As an alternative to this overstimulated, very negative influence. And so I do want to echo Anya, like we have been discussing. We know it sort of sounds simple from maybe a parental perspective. We know that it's not, and want to acknowledge that. But I think, at least my hope is that eventually, if it becomes sort of normalized and the expectation becomes normalized, that in most cases, kids will sort of rise to the occasion. And many children as young as 10 are already quite capable of respecting rules and boundaries and all of those things, and would really love a place to come where they can sort of exercise those skills.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And we have the policy review. This is very helpful discussion.
Question.
No, it's just public comment. I would recommend if you're willing to give your email addresses or contact information.
Yeah, so there are 5 public comment emails that got sent to you earlier.
Yes, I saw those. Did you send an email?
One of them.
I know you sent one. I did. Just looking through them. So I think contact information is on the ones that can come through, but if there are questions, if you're
I'm more than willing.
available.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
Like your background, Lori. I just noticed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm in my classroom.
I know it was for a second there. It did look like a stock background.
Yeah.
Background.
This is where I live.
All right, with that, we will end public comment. Moving now into the approval of minutes. The first we need to approve is that from the May meeting. Do we have any edits, amendments to the May?
May 19th meeting?
Yes.
No, this is the May 12th. We did not have quorum. So we probably was, but still need to report out share the notes.
The May 19th.
Yeah, I was just thinking, do we let Mike know that we're here and it's at 6? Mike Foley from Friends,
He gets the packet, doesn't he?
but it was,
I don't know if we directly told him.
I think was it mentioned in the last meeting?
And so, yeah,
Definitely.
because Aaron asked a couple times. Sorry.
I saw it here. It was one of those.
Well, he's here for the strategic planning.
Yeah. But also I hope he remembers that it's here.
No, what?
Yeah.
I don't think he gets off the train here, so.
If you could just text him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just crossed my mind seeing his name in the notes. Any edits?
No.
All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 12th meeting.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes for the May 12th meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. The May 12th meetings are approved, and now we have the special meeting on May 19th minutes to review. Reaper, any issues? Do a motion?
I move that the library board of trustees approve the meeting minutes from the May special meeting of May 19th.
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, so moved. With that, we'll go to the chairman's report. I will keep it extremely brief because we need to get to our guest. So that's it. That's the chairman's report. Go now to library updates.
So I'm not gonna give a report. If you guys have any questions from the packet, from the report, please ask them now. And just a reminder, next month is our annual meeting.
Yeah.
So, we will be inviting elected officials and we'll start at 6:30. Sorry, Erin. But the wine and cheese will be 6:30. Business meeting won't be till
No, my only problem was today is crazy time of year.
Yes, I get it. I get it.
I don't always complain.
No.
I don't know. You're welcome.
So, that's it. That's all I have.
No, this is great, thank you. I just keep worrying about our staff and the IT issues associated with
Yeah.
the payroll and vacation. It's not acceptable. I know we've said that multiple times, and I know we let us do everything we can do, but
If you know any elected officials in the town, whisper in their ear that library staff are not.
Is there anything else about issues, IT issues you want to share?
No, the ILS process is going really smooth. I mean, everybody's a little nervous about it. It was just the timing of that with payroll and health insurance. The health insurance totally came out of nowhere.
Does everybody know about that?
Yeah. So
That's just another thing to be aware of.
all of our health insurance changed, and probably not for the better.
Policy or?
So our
Provider.
provider.
So
So
everything changed.
understandable move in terms of the town and money savings, but for our staff, I'm used to my insurance changing. You know, my last shop, it was every 2 or 3 years, I got to negotiate it. This is the first time for everyone in 10 years. So it's a big change, and it kind of was with a very short window of time. And not even telling department heads, hey, what's your opinion on this? It's just like, I found out because the union notified you.
So when's it effective, July 1st?
Trying to get in all my doctor's appointments.
Or like 4 weeks notice?
All right. Yeah, so just keep that in mind as we're thinking about our staff. Present company included. All right, policy review. So, service to minors. I would like everyone to just take some time to review the comments submitted both in person as well as via email. Take through. If you do, as I mentioned, if you want to reach out to people, you can do that individually as a trustee. But we will be tabling this more so for probably our potentially July for discussion, or maybe even August, depending.
Do we have a meeting?
Sorry, pardon?
We meet in August?
No, we don't. And that's why I was just correcting myself, September. So we'll discuss in July. We'll shoot for July with approval in
Can
September.
I just, was there a point where we talked about switching to grades?
There is.
Is that a same policy or different policy?
That's that policy, but we didn't make the change.
We didn't make-
But that was part of the discussion last time we did it.
Understood, okay. Because you can be in, we'll have a just 11-year-old going into 6th grade, looking in the middle school.
That's something that's that's been discussed. It's definitely something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know we talked about this relatively recently, but then,
I'll
yeah,
have a 10-year-old in 6th grade.
there you go, yeah. Yeah, that would be,
We're get her out the door.
mhm.
November birthday. She's a third. It's all right.
That's what my mom.
She's raising herself.
my birthday.
Pretty much. But I guess,
I did have a quick question, sorry.
go for it.
I just quickly looked at the emails, but is there an age that they're asking for, or? like,
No,
they
and
mentioned
we had a-
8, that's.
We had a really good conversation. We're actually on a board together, so, it's not uncommon for libraries to go by grade as opposed to age. So I don't think they're not directly asking for a specific age. I mean, they do point out in their public comment that Pequot does 10. So, but nothing, I think they're open to, different ideas.
Be quiet those 10.
Can I ask one-
Do they limit the accessibility to the computers in the library? Or what somebody can bring in? So,
No,
You
the
can't have the
issue, I think, in that sense would be as well that if you do restrict that, that puts more onus on the staff.
Right.
And that's obviously the issue at hand is that it's potential to put more onus on the staff. Um, that being said, my son has come in here by himself, apparently, without my knowledge. And he has friends behave, but I did say if you don't, then they're gonna kick you out and call me, and I'm gonna be not happy. So, yeah, I think there's definitely we had a lot of discussion with this previously, when we reviewed it. Scott, I would ask just from your perspective, just to, you've had the discussion, obviously, with, was it with Anya? Okay. But also just, getting kind of the vibe from the staff,
And
particularly,
the head of
particularly children's.
Head of Children's and I already have been having this conversation.
Okay,
I'll
fantastic.
loop her in as soon as.
Would love to, would love for you to share her, or even if she wants to come in July. Because these are the staff members that will have most impact.
How did it hit everybody's radar?
Exactly what I'm thinking. What's the context for all?
It sounds like it was the board that they were, the uncle board.
Well,
Is that the school?
yeah,
Okay.
there was a situation. So I know a parent was spoken to sternly. So I think that also triggered it as well.
About their child.
Their children were here, they were here for a while. There was some conversation about, how long they were here. And then when the parent arrived, staff member, I know this from the staff member, and then Anya told me as well that there was a parent who had complained to her. So yes, I think that also triggered it as well.
I mean, I think that I've read the book, it's a legitimate concern, but I don't know how the library can solve that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think there is a discussion to be had on this topic. Say, take the time to read the comments. The book obviously makes very valid points. See it every day. But with that, there is to what level do we bear responsibility? So yes, we'll have, I'm sure, spirited discussion in July. But we continue down the agenda so we can get to where we need to get to. All right. With that, we'll move on to committee and liaison reports. Fundraising committee, anything to share?
Just, I want to keep on the radar. I know Stephanie and May. Had a brainstorming session. I know it was written about in the last minutes from May. I just want to keep on everybody's radar, not for discussion today, but I'd like to request permission to put forward some of our questions for actual consideration and discussion. So I guess what we're asking for is some specific time on an agenda. And I don't know when that fits best for all of us. Nothing is urgent or on fire, but I think we just need to do some level setting as to the purpose of the fundraising committee. Again, what was in the minutes. So, and maybe some of that conversation will be informed by our strategic planning conversations going forward.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe September.
I would,
It feels far away.
Oh, it'll be here before we know.
I know, exactly.
Is September okay, or is September like a launching point and we're gonna be so busy with other things, everybody's gonna be mad at me?
I think actually that'll be a good kind
I was
of
gonna say-
project focus for the board.
Okay,
So,
okay,
Yeah, I would say September is probably, because we
okay,
don't want to do it, obviously July would be too soon, because then you go away for a month,
yeah,
or 2 months, rather. Yeah, let's shoot for September.
thank you.
We can Yeah, that is new business.
Yeah. That's all we've got.
All right. You've not heard anything from the town?
No, I,
Got like 3 emails and I
yeah,
tried them.
we sent emails and I'm not sure that's a topic for next month or it's,
I think it is, we keep that, yes. I think we continue to reach out, but we'll have an audience next month
right.
that will be a little bit more, able to do something directly. Yeah, so. Okay, is what it is. Friends of the library, unfortunately, did you have a chance?
He's on his way, he's on the train.
Oh, okay, cool. So we will table that for the moment, then move into the treasurer's report.
My chart is labeled incorrectly. It should say May 31st, 2025. We're at 4% in the endowment over the end of December. It's good news. The biggest update is that we are in a paused period of opening this account that I've been talking about for probably 6 months now. I thought we were all over there, all the signatures, all the information they need, and they came back and said they needed articles of incorporation. I sent back what Andrew provided, that we don't have articles of incorporation, but here's the charter, and crickets since then. So I just followed up with another email. So I don't know if I just dropped off the radar or what the situation is. They were very eager when they were changing over to, although I'm still on the Vanguard platform, you can also log on to the Mercer platform. And they were very, very eager for us to open that new account. So I don't know in that transition, we were not as important to move over as we previously were, or they're not as eager to open this up. So I'll keep on them.
Okay.
I can't imagine they're not going to open it. It's under the same umbrella, but it's just taking much longer than I would have thought.
Yes. Yes, indeed. All right. Now moving into reconciliations and check registry. Just seeing if anyone has any questions as to any of the reconciliations or anything on the registry.
I just am gonna make the assumption that on the back of the reconciliation report for 606, that I think, do we mean May 20th, not June 20th?
Where is
As
that?
an uncleared check and payments after 5/30/2025, or is that
I think that's,
forward pay?
I don't know why it's in there, but it's, I think that's a check that's in this batch. Oh, I know what happened. So I had the invoice for that check and I entered it in preparation for the checks for approval, but because it has a June date on it, it didn't appear in the list of checks for approval, but it was in the checkbook. So it's really just a technical error that it's something planned for June.
Okay,
Yeah, it is on the.
I usually don't
I
put the
didn't make
checks
that
in until
connection. Thank you.
after I do the reconciliation because that happens.
thank you, I didn't make that connection to
Gotcha.
the other pages. And that non-observation, I don't like observation.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to approve?
I move that the library board of trustees approve the May reconciliations and the pending June checks.
Oh, you know what, I didn't needed to mention that the checks for approval is revised from the packet that was sent out.
Oh,
There are a couple more things that came in Friday.
great.
Spell approval.
Still jet lagged.
I will second that.
Warble? Warble?
Yeah, I'll second.
But read the top, read the top.
It's not just like.
No, I was thinking.
I know. I was just
Oh, I thought.
For a board?
Harassing you today.
I would punch you before 7. Punch you after 7, but you know. All right, all in favor? So moved. All right, now we'll move into our old business, which is the collection development policy. I know, Scott, you put your comments in the memo. But do you have anything else you want to?
No, this version is pretty much the version we've been looking at for the last month or so. It's, we've trimmed down the policy. It's a little easier to understand. It has kind of the state required reconsideration form. It's, I think, clear, easy to follow. And this with hopefully the prospective changes to the town charter will really help you have a heated book challenge next week.
Great.
The only thing that I wonder is whether we ought to absolutely emphasize that the form, the materials review form must be completed in its entirety so that we can avoid the possibility of people half filling it out and expecting it to be taken fully seriously. I've seen too many stories about that.
We had this conversation.
I emailed them because I thought we were gonna vote on it at the meeting I wasn't gonna make. I did see what you wrote back or somewhere about you would prefer it hard copy over digitally.
I did see that. Yeah, I agree that.
Oh, that makes sense, okay.
That is an interesting.
I mean, I've just seen people be like, slash, remove it, and then you've gotta take it seriously because it's been submitted.
Would that be part of the policy or?
I think it should be part, maybe both, but definitely part of the policy, so you can point back to it and say, we'd love to review, and please complete this fully.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's only adding
Title two.
a word to, right?
Right.
Okay,
So one minor typo on the.
yeah, you guys don't need to vote on
Yeah.
tomatoes.
Okay.
So I guess for consideration, it would be the second to last line, on excuse me, on the second page of the policy itself. So the third page of what we've been issued. A request for materials review form must be completed in its entirety and submitted to the town library would be the adjustment I would request.
I think it's a very sensible addition to it, particularly in the sense that it will prevent people from doing spurious challenges. Got a point of order question for you. Is it possible for us to approve with the edits pending legal approval? Or is it better for us to approve as is for this month, so you have coverage, it is in place?
Well, I mean, if you don't vote on it this month, we just have the previous policy, which isn't a bad.
I just want to make sure that if there's nothing, if there's anything in here that you need,
I'd
you'd like to have it in place now.
I'd actually like to run that, and now I'm kicking myself. Because you want to run that past Phil real quick, because it's possible that it can't be.
Okay.
So I would wait, we'll vote on this in July.
Okay.
And make the additions.
Can you also, what do people think
And
about
fix
this?
the comment.
Fix the comment. Is there, I don't want to be like overly anything, but I do understand that this was a big consideration prior, and I don't anticipate it going away in the future. Is there any benefit to asking somebody to not only fill this all out, but also to sign it? Which is basically verifying that everything I've said above is true and real.
That's a good question to
For
ask.
example, have you examined the entire resource? I don't want somebody saying yes, and we can't actually hold them to it.
Okay,
That is
I like that.
definitely what happened last. That's a,
Well, that's for me.
Yeah, but signature is an
And you
attestation.
can, with a statement that
Right.
says, I attest to the foregoing,
Yeah,
whatever the
validity.
right language is truthful to the best of my knowledge, or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's a good call. To play devil's advocate,
Yeah.
there is an issue, there is a concern if we are, as a library, putting forth legal documents effectively as part of this, what are we hiding?
Hmm.
The visuals of it.
So by putting a signature on it, does that make it a legal document? And that's a true actual question.
So,
I don't know.
well, so what you were asking though is if you sign it
Yeah,
and you're attesting, then yes, it is.
okay,
You are vowing, legally that you have reviewed this all and theoretically that we could disqualify it,
Is there language?
officially.
is there language, do you think, that helps it to not,
I guess it's, the question to Phil should be somewhere around, can we put something on here that includes signature that is an attestation of,
yeah, I think I'll word it.
of, that they say this is true, that everything in the contents is true. Because I just,
Yeah,
The only comment I'd say on that, I agree fully with that, is I think the signature just also helps and that doesn't prevent, but could solve an issue if somebody fills out a form and puts somebody else's name on it. Because you might have
That is
that,
true.
somebody else, so whether they're attesting to something, at least there's,
yeah,
this day and age,
So good questions for Bill.
it's yeah, I think it was just having any legal language on there.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, I feel like we want to avoid the person that's like, hey, fill this out, I didn't like that, can you fill it, like, you know what I mean, just to
Yeah,
like, there's
others
like,
who agree with you and you didn't take the time to actually
Right,
review the material, you didn't actually get to make your own opinion.
Right.
And you're just gonna,
Right.
yeah, sure, I'll send them to.
right, but by putting your signature on it,
Yeah,
you like mean
and
it,
saying
and you're
just,
like
yes,
willing to stand by
the
it.
whole thing and saying that, yes, I reviewed this whole form, this is what my opinion is.
yeah,
Make your mark.
yeah, stand by it, don't you?
Yeah.
Right,
You
right,
put
exactly,
your name on it, but that is a verification, there's a point of
Right.
verification that you're, yes,
right? Like, you'll apply for a job, but if you just, I don't know, I'm making up things now, you get it.
Yeah. I just had to throw that out just for discussion,
Yeah.
in terms of what it could look like. Okay, yeah, just let us know what, Phil says, and if you want to just put it in the memo. Either add it or, strike it. All right. So that is tabled for July. Now we'll move into our proposed budget. So, Mike, how's it going? With plenty of time. So any questions? Has everybody had a chance just looking through? We will have surplus coming from this year as part of, had some discussion. Maybe Aaron, it's a question for you as treasurer. If we have, so we have the income line in here, pass through from the front, things of that nature. If we plan on as a board signing funds for large print from the Simcoe fund, would it make sense to have that called out on the budget line? That it will be income pass through, it's Simcoe fund, it's restricted funds.
I think it would be helpful just to be able to track it all.
Yeah. That whatever.
So then we could tie back to,
Yeah, and the other
when we
thing
get
too.
6 months into the year, be like, oh, yes, this is supposed to be transferred from this fund.
Yep. Because I think the other thing that was beneficial when we were looking at the budget from this year, last week, that the outlays for OBOT were lower than we had in the budget.
Mhm.
But it was subsequently lower from an income perspective because of the pass. So it ended up from a balancing the
The
end
same.
irrelevant. So I do think it will make sense for that. So just as we look to this, any questions with regards to what is included as a line item?
I guess I'm just curious about which library furniture is being replaced.
So in this budget, it's replacement, like if something's damaged. That's,
Okay.
because we pretty much went through, when I first got here, Jan and Philip did an incredible job of doing new furniture
I
here.
remember the chair test out.
Yeah, yeah, so, but
Phase
All the
one, phase
furniture
two, phase
breaks.
three,
Yeah.
phase
That's
one,
really-
Okay, I didn't, it's not a big initiative, it's
not a big
just
initiative, it's just. you know,
caretaking.
And we put a little bit of extra money in because Andrew expressed interest in helping out finishing the patio project,
Yes.
which we need to do some additional hardscape work to put the tables in. But that's now very up in the air because James from DPW.
The DBW wants to do it or?
DPW wants to do it, but James wants to think about it because he wants it to look right. Which I don't blame him. I get it.
Yeah.
So, he asked me to give him a little bit of time and then.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And everything else I think is relatively in line.
I got one question on just something like the architect for project. Because obviously we don't know yet, but if that changes later on,
We can adjust.
we adjust.
It's not like the town's budget, so
Right.
it's your money, you all can say.
Yeah. Is this the latest and greatest budget, Scott, that we worked on? This doesn't have income on top. It also
Should.
still has strategic plan.
Okay. We'll fix that.
Well, there will be some strategic plan expenses.
Be that full amount.
No,
Gee.
I don't know, I don't know where we are, Maureen, and that survey, the Fairfield Use survey.
Sure, that was,
that'll probably be in the next fiscal year.
well, the first, I mean, I saw that on the check registry is the first check. From Maureen.
Yeah, first and then today, second.
Today's
The revisions.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I added it to the list of,
Yeah, so we'll still hit this fiscal 25, not fiscal 26.
yeah, we're still under.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm not concerned, I just want, yeah. But I think from a perspective of having a budget for next year, anything that is out of line, of issue, you can always make adjustments to it.
Yeah, this is the latest one because it's got fund balance, but we didn't put in the amounts. We don't know what we're gonna be. We need to find out
That's right.
what
We
we're
need-
taking from our investments.
Yes, because we'll do the drawdown next month.
And then do the final kind of cash out of everything, final checks.
Yep.
And then that'll give us how much money we have left.
One thing to note for everyone with regards to the budget as part of the, our, we do a 2% drawdown on what, 8 quarters?
Top of my head, yeah.
Okay.
Quarters,
Rolling.
average. Rolling average.
Yeah. Yes. There is a potential that we would, and I will mention this next month when we discuss this, but the idea, because we do have still funds remaining from 25, that because we don't want to just have them sitting in the money market, we can delay we'll issue the drawdown, but not do it for X amount of months potentially. So,
Approve it,
what's that?
I mean, approve it.
Approve it, but not withdraw.
And just wait and see what the market, why would we?
because we don't want it sitting in a money, like, if it
We want it
makes
sitting where it's-
5%
Yeah.
in the market, and it makes
Oh, so we'll just watch
a
what's
quarter,
happening
you know,
and then say.
quarter of a
Yeah, different
percent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better in the market than it is in our funds than it is not. So just FYI on that. But with that, do we need to vote on, no, next month?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
next.
Because we do this, yeah, we do this, we do this late next month too, which is related somewhat to, we have an opening on the board starting next month. We need to nominate our recommendation for the Board of Selectmen. I would like to nominate the person who is very proved out, is the one who is technically leaving the board at the end of the month. And I would like to nominate Stephanie Broussari as our recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. Is there a second? All in favor? So moved. So we'll inform the Board of Selectmen that you are a recommendation for the next 6-year term. 6 years. And this is a culmination of the conversation you and I had from almost 2 years ago now? A year and a half ago? Yeah. Would you be willing to stay on?
This is another 6 years.
So Stephanie, I do appreciate it, and we'll get you,
Do I
talk
have to
to.
go in front of them again, do you
I
think?
think so.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll figure that out. I know you, and
Board of
it's,
Selectmen meetings are, can't be missed.
it's,
Oh,
Yeah.
it's theater. It
so
is
bring
theater.
popcorn is what I just heard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I think they've gotten more and more interesting from what I understand.
Quite. So with that, we have finished our new business, and
We can't adjourn. You have to stay in,
in session,
yes.
can I go to executive?
Nope.
No. All right. You play. Yeah.
You can't leave a business meeting and go into a work session.
No,
Interesting.
because it's the full body of the board. And even though there's no decisions being made, you're still discussing library business.
Interesting.
I asked 2 different lawyers, because I was like, clarify.
That's it.
Like a retreat component, if we call it a retreat.
We did talk about that.
But I don't think I don't, so that's the big question that I need to ask, because can we write into this in New York? No, about it. If you're discussing any government business as a government commission,
All right. So scratch what I said earlier, not going to executive session.
so just leave
Do you want to
it.
hear from Mike?
Since we're not going to executive session, you can stick around, so unless you have a.
No, I'm got a closet that I need to completely redo downstairs, so.
I'm leaving too.
But I just,
Bye,
do you want
Nancy.
to hear from Mike, who made that as representative and friends?
Who is your?
Mike's part of this.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
But do you have anything you wanted to share to the board with regard to the meeting?
Like an update from the Friends?
Yeah.
Oh, update from friends, always happy to update. It's been actually fairly quiet, for the most part. Jennifer and I, started a little, kind of tiny little outreach thing. We're reading to kids at the farmer's market in Greenfield Hill every Saturday morning. I have read to kids since my kids were little, but not as rusty as I thought. So every day we get every Saturday we get about a dozen kids, and they all sit in the grass and read picture books. And I say, I will only read this book to you if you have a library card.
He left one thing out.
What's that?
Jen and Mike have received the Friends of Connecticut Library Association Award
Oh,
for their work.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So we'll leave that going.
Leave that going. I'll be just texting when you're done.
finance.
Bye. Have a good night.
So
Bye.
Lori, I'll email you when they're out of adjournment.
Okay.
This is just discussion ensued for